When Aliyah Boston sat down for her latest interview, nobody expected what was about to happen. Calm, confident, and composed, Boston didn't just answer questions. She shook the entire WNBA landscape. In a few carefully chosen words, she dismantled criticism from a basketball legend, defended her teammate Caitlin Clark, and reminded everyone why she's one of the most respected young stars in the game today. It wasn't just an interview, it was a statement. Sheryl Swoopes, a Hall of Famer, pioneer, and icon, has been outspoken about Caitlin Clark's rise, often questioning whether the hype is justified. But Boston didn't let that slide. Instead, she addressed the issue head-on, not with anger, but with poise, making it clear that defending Clark wasn't just about one player, but about respect, fairness, and the future of women's basketball. The build-up to the interview. In the days leading up to Aliyah Boston's interview, the WNBA world was buzzing with tension. Conversations about Caitlin Clark's rapid rise weren't just dominating highlight reels. They were spilling into debates about respect, media coverage, and how new stars are welcomed into the league. Sheryl Swoopes, a trailblazer and three-time WNBA MVP, had recently made headlines for her candid comments about Clark. To some, she was simply being honest about the challenges every rookie faces. To others, her words came off as dismissive, even harsh. The debate was everywhere: sports talk shows, Twitter threads, fan podcasts. So when Boston sat down for her interview, the timing couldn't have been more charged. Everyone wondered, would she address it? Would she defend her teammate? Or would she take the safer route and dodge the drama? Who is Aliyah Boston? To understand why Aliyah Boston's interview hit so hard, you first need to understand who she is. Boston isn't just another rising star in the WNBA. She's the kind of player who redefines expectations everywhere she goes. Born in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Boston's journey to basketball greatness was anything but ordinary. She moved to the mainland at a young age, driven by a dream that seemed almost impossible at the time. By high school, she was already turning heads, dominating the court with a mix of power, skill, and poise that set her apart from her peers. At South Carolina, under the legendary Dawn Staley, Boston became a force of nature. A national champion, the 2022 Naismith Player of the Year, and a household name in college basketball, she carried herself with a mix of humility and unshakable confidence that made her both respected and feared. Sheryl Swoopes' controversial comments. Before Aliyah Boston's interview even hit the headlines, the spark that ignited the fire came from none other than Sheryl Swoopes. For younger fans, it's important to remember, Swoopes isn't just any former player. She's a WNBA legend, a three-time MVP, four-time champion, and one of the trailblazers who helped shape the league in its early days. Her voice carries authority, but sometimes, authority comes with friction. In a recent discussion, Swoopes openly questioned Caitlin Clark's hype. She suggested the media was overinflating Clark's impact, hinting that her numbers weren't as groundbreaking when compared to the struggles of her team. She also implied that Clark hadn't yet earned the level of spotlight she was receiving. Boston's calm but powerful response. When Aliyah Boston finally addressed Sheryl Swoopes' remarks, she didn't raise her voice. She didn't fire back with insults. Instead, she did something far more powerful. She spoke with calm, deliberate clarity. Boston acknowledged Swoopes' legacy first, making it clear she respected what pioneers like her had done for the game. But then, without hesitation, she dismantled the criticism. She pointed out that Caitlin Clark has faced enormous pressure as a rookie, all while carrying expectations that few players in history have had to shoulder. And through it all, Clark has continued to show up, compete, and make an impact. It was the kind of response that doesn't just silence critics. It shifts the conversation. Defending Caitlin Clark. Aliyah Boston made it clear. Defending Caitlin Clark wasn't about playing favorites. It was about setting the record straight. She reminded everyone that Clark's arrival has brought unprecedented attention to the WNBA, new fans, sold-out arenas, and record-breaking viewership numbers. That impact, Boston argued, can't be dismissed or downplayed. But beyond the business side of basketball, Boston spoke from a teammate's perspective. She's seen firsthand how much Clark works, how she battles through double teams, physical defense, and relentless media scrutiny. Boston described her as resilient, focused, and hungry to prove herself every night. That's not hype, that's reality. The internet reaction. The moment Aliyah Boston's interview clip hit social media, it was everywhere. Fans clipped the sound bites, posted them on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and within hours, Boston's words were sparking fiery debates across timelines. Supporters of Caitlin Clark cheered Boston's defense, calling it long overdue. They praised her for saying what many fans had been feeling, that constant criticism of Clark had gone too far, and it was time for players to acknowledge the positive energy she's brought to the league. Boston, in their eyes, wasn't just defending her teammate. She was defending the future of women's basketball. For better or worse, Boston had shifted the spotlight, and once again, all eyes were on Caitlin Clark. Old guard versus new era. At its core, the tension between Sheryl Swoopes and Caitlin Clark isn't just about one rookie or one legend. It's about something bigger, the clash between the old guard and the new era of women's basketball. The old guard, represented by icons like Swoopes, Lisa Leslie, and Diana Taurasi, played in a league that didn't have the same visibility or resources it does today. They fought uphill battles for recognition, often playing in front of half-empty arenas and earning salaries that barely reflected their worth. For them, respect had to be clawed for, brick by brick. The new era, led by stars like Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, benefits from that groundwork. They're stepping into a league with bigger TV deals, higher fan engagement, and unprecedented media attention. To the veterans, that visibility feels unearned. To the rookies, it's the natural evolution of the game. The bigger picture in women's basketball. Aliyah Boston's defense of Caitlin Clark wasn't just about one moment. It was about the larger picture of where women's basketball is headed. Right now, the WNBA is at a crossroads. On one hand, it's experiencing unprecedented growth. Record-breaking ticket sales, skyrocketing TV ratings, and viral social media moments have put the league in front of more eyes than ever before. On the other hand, that growth comes with growing pains. The debate over Clark's hype highlights a recurring theme. How do you balance respect for the legends who built the league with recognition for the new players fueling its future? Too often, conversations turn into comparisons. Instead of celebrating the progress, it feels like a tug of war. Aliyah Boston's leadership and legacy. Aliyah Boston may only be in the early stages of her WNBA career, but moments like this prove she's already building a legacy beyond the stat sheet. Leadership isn't just about points, rebounds, or blocks. It's about stepping up when it matters, using your voice when others stay silent, and setting the tone for what kind of culture you want in the league. By publicly defending Caitlin Clark, Boston showed she's not afraid to take on the responsibility of being a leader, even when it means pushing back against a Hall of Famer like Sheryl Swoopes. That takes courage, not just the physical kind we see on the court, but the kind that shapes locker rooms, fan bases, and the future of the sport. What comes next? After Aliyah Boston's interview, the WNBA community was left with one big question. What happens now? Will Sheryl Swoopes respond? Will other legends weigh in? And how will Caitlin Clark handle the added spotlight of being defended so publicly by a teammate? For Swoopes, the ball is in her court. She can double down on her comments, or she can use this as an opportunity to acknowledge the next generation. Either way, her response or silence will say a lot about how the old guard views this new wave of talent. For Boston, the path is clear. Keep leading, both on and off the court. Every time she speaks, people listen, and that influence will only grow as her career continues to shine.